Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. Our regular meeting agenda for Monday, June the 16th, 2014. Could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioners Fuad?
Here.
Lafayan? Sharkey?
Here.
Wu is absent. President Khan?
Here.
The agenda for the June 16, 2014 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before Friday, June 13, 2014. Item 2, upcoming council agenda items.
As President Khan, members of the Commission, on June 17th, which is tomorrow, on the City Council calendar, we have a proclamation designating July as Parks and Recreation Month, and we will be highlighting the GO Open Space and Trails program. We have an action item to request council approval to adopt plans and specifications and authorize a bidding for installation of playground equipment at Palmer and Pacific Parks at an estimated cost of between $300,000 and $400,000. And those will be the final 2 of 7 recently completed playground replacement projects. The following Tuesday, on June 24th, we have a commendation from the Mayor of City of Glendale for the Cruise Night sponsors. We will be recognizing the naming sponsor for Cruise Night and the presenting sponsor for Cruise Night and for their financial contributions. On the City Council calendar, we will have a motion to note and file a change in policy regarding the use of rodenticides. Lately, there's been a lot of media concern regarding the effect of pesticides on or pesticides containing second-generation anticoagulants and the unintended consequences that these pesticides have on the wildlife. And so we are going to be changing our policy regarding that. We'll be making a report to City Council recommending a new pesticide. We also have a resolution to appropriate $50,000 in Los Angeles County funds as a result of a competitive grant that was awarded for our senior case management program. And that is all that we have on the docket.
Great. Thank you very much. What is next?
The record will show that Commissioner Wu joined the meeting during item 2. Item 3, introductions and presentations. 3A, presentation by Joanna Linkhorst, Chair of Friends of Rock Haven.
Hi, I'm Joanna Linkhorst. I'm head of the Friends of Rock Haven, a group that is allowed to give tours of the facility, learn as much history as possible, as confusing as it can sometimes be. We get to go in and clean, though unfortunately we don't get to do any structural maintenance. We do very much enjoy being able to get in here and learn more about the physical structure and the way the things are together and finding little bits of history. The Parks has recently allowed us to extend a specific fundraiser for one item that is on the property, though, a statue that we call the Lady of Rock Haven. She has cracked over the many, many years that she has been there. We have an artist to restore it, and we just recently had a tea to raise funds, and it was absolutely beautiful on these grounds. I wanted to give you guys an idea of why it's very, very appropriate that it is under the umbrella of the Parks and Recreation and Community umbrella. This place started in 1923 with Agnes Richards. She began in a 2-story rock facade home where she had a garden and chickens, and the 6 ladies that she brought with her to give them dignified, individualized care in a home-like setting was a very active, very hopeful, very beautiful place, and it only became more and more beautiful. The idea is these women were mild and just mental and nervous disorder sufferers, and they were going to rehabilitate. So they were active, they were out. And in this beautiful area of Verdugo City with the Verdugo Hills, clearly in view from the patio of the administration building, which replaced the rock facade house after the 1971 earthquake, it is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful oasis. In the 1960s, a gentleman by the name of Ivan Cole was brought in to tame and beautify the gardens, and they were absolutely remarkable. The only place that I could compare it to would be like Disneyland, with the amount of precision and care that went into all of these items. When Agnes Richards would travel, she would send back pottery and statuary. You can see there a beautiful fountain, some faux bois furniture is off to the side there over the little bridge. Just a marvelous little spot to be able to gather and get out and enjoy. It won the Los Angeles Beautiful Award in 1966, the year that I was brought into Glendale, and it won the Glendale Beautiful Award in 1987. This is Ivan Cole himself, probably around the time that he was thinking of retiring. He does look a little bit older, but look at how lush and absolutely fabulous this place is, and I love that tie in that picture. This is the front lawn area. It is the southeast corner of the property. The Rose Cottage is seen off to the right, but only barely because of all the great vegetation that was there. Now, obviously, it can't be kept up the same to this day. Just would be irresponsible to have that kind of water need in a place like this. But it still is quite beautiful, still has quite a lovely layout, and the community is nuts about this place. We love the idea of being able to get scouts in. The Theodore Payne group wants to get in with natural and local plants and be able to bring this place back to life again. Here's our statue. Here is Our Lady of Rockhaven. She was once surrounded by a lot of lawn and beautiful tables and umbrellas, and now she stands by herself, and you can see the damage that was done by being put into a round bowl. She's from Gladding McBean, designed in 1926, unglazed terracotta, and somebody decided that they needed to paint her, and that didn't go really well with the terracotta. It trapped the moisture in, and over the years, the bowing of the bowl caused a crack. The artist will create a stabilizing base for her and push her right back together again so she'll be able to remain outside. And here is what it looked like on our tee. Still an absolutely beautiful and lovely place that we enjoy being at, and that day in particular was so much fun to be able to do. There's the guy's great because he shows up and he says, "Yeah, I just drew this in 5 minutes. No big deal." A demonstration of the kind of stabilizer that he will be placing under Our Lady of Rockhaven. Thank you very much.
What happened to the facility or the home or whatever it was called?
In the 1960s, Agnes's granddaughter Patricia Travis took over, and in 2001 she was done. She'd actually run it longer than her grandmother, so she sold it to the Ararat Company, who ran it for about 5 years. But the facility, with the buildings being built between 1921 and 1939, was very difficult to keep up for aging residents. There's a fabulous spot where a ramp goes right into a hot water heater. So it obviously wasn't going to be able to be that anymore. What they wanted to do was level the place and build a new hospital, and the neighbors didn't like that idea, and so they thought they would just build housing. Unfortunately, the city of Glendale didn't like that idea either, and they purchased it in 2008 with many hopes for an expanded library and park and community services area. But unfortunately, the economy didn't allow that sort of thing to happen. So it's been sitting there with the Historical Society of Crescenta Valley being able to come in every now and then and clean the place up. And a little more than a year ago, the Friends of Rockhaven formed to lead the tours.
Up until the point where it was sold to, you said it was Ararat?
Ararat, yes.
Was it used then all the time as a mental health facility?
It was. At first it was it is always by women for women when it was under Agnes Richards. And they had mild mental nervous disorders, and frequently they were rehabilitated. They would get out because the way that there was treatment back then, they'd take someone that they just felt was hysterical and they'd lock them away and drug them, and she knew that that wasn't necessary.
Sure.
So the longest anyone stayed there was about 50 years. And I have a feeling it's because she liked it there that much. When you can see how gorgeous it was, somebody's cooking for you, you've got these beautiful residences to live in. When Ararat came in, by about that time, mental health care changed, and it became more about dementia and Alzheimer's. And Ararat ran a co-ed facility for those 5 years.
Okay, please.
I was sorry you didn't show the front view of the statue. I love the front.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
But I would strongly recommend that there's GTV6 did a wonderful documentary on Rock Haven. And that's all you have to do is search Rock Haven, a sanctuary from Glendale's past, and it will tell you everything that you need.
Yeah.
Definitely the details.
It won an Emmy. It's that wonderful of a...
It's great. So again, that's Rock Haven, a sanctuary from Glendale's past, and it's on YouTube. I'd give you the address, but it's really long.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah.
Are the gardens being maintained now, or are they abandoned, or somewhere in between?
There is a caretaker who gets to live there, and since Glendale has owned it, it has never been vandalized. There were 3 gardeners about 2 or 3 times a week, but with cutbacks, there's only 1 gardener 2 days a week taking care of 3.5 acres. So we've been able to go in and do some sweeping sometimes, and like we do the cleaning of the places that we show.
But it's still irrigated and kept up at some level? No?
Not really.
To a very limited degree.
Yeah.
Most of the grounds are, there are no plantings and it's dirt. For the most part, it's dirt. We do have some shrubs that we maintain, especially around the buildings and the caretaker's area, but...
And the rose garden.
And the rose garden.
Very small rose garden, sorry.
So part of this RFP that's gone out, RFQ, you're familiar with it then?
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys part of that process then?
Glendale has very graciously been including us in the whole process, yeah. And so we've been able to know what's going on. I was there on the 2 days that the developers toured, and I absolutely loved it because I got to go places we don't normally go, and I got to tell them little bits of history in a way that's different than the tours that I formally give, and I really enjoyed it. They thanked me for being there, and it's like, are you kidding me? Any excuse to be on the property. It was hard to leave.
Great.
Where do we stand now as far as new development?
Ooh, okay. Who's we? The community would like little or no development. I don't know if that's going to be feasible because right now the city of Glendale has no money to do anything with the place, and it'd be very nice to see it come alive again. We would like to see, particularly that southeast corner that I showed you, become a park. We would love to have a museum for the Historical Society of the Crescenta Valley. Ideally, there would be a community center there. I know that there are a couple local businesses that wouldn't mind moving into the buildings and operating out of the park. So it's very much up in the air with the ideas of looking how to bring in funding to bring the place back to life and make things happen there and preserve as much as possible.
If I may add, President Conchairman Klefayan, the status is that the request for qualifications is due to the city July 2nd. July 2nd? And so hopefully we will receive a number of statements, which would be a developer team's ideas for what they can do with the property, given their understanding of what the city's goals are and the community's goals are, and to see if they can develop a project that makes sense to all of the concerned parties. And so hopefully we will receive 7, 8, 9 RFQs. We will study them, sift through them, evaluate them, analyze them, and we will select, if not all, a smaller number, which we will analyze further and have a dialogue with members of the community in terms of what came in and what we're looking at. And then hopefully with concurrence from the stakeholders and the community members, have some recommendations to make to the City Council. So it'll be a long, methodical process because it's a very important project, and so we're going to take our time and do a thorough job.
But we're not selling, the city is leasing to the developer for the project.
I'm not sure that decision has been made yet. And that's probably going to be part of the proposal evaluation process.
One of the very interesting things about the RFQ is they've left it wide open. There's no ideas about you have to buy it or you can't buy it or anything. And it's whatever you can imagine can happen here they wanted to see, and it's kind of fun.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Have a good day. What is next?
Item 4, Commission staff comments.
I know that Commissioner Sharkey has a few comments to make, so by all means.
Well,
Please.
Okay. Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation presents Glendale Dodger Night, and that's on August 16th. Tickets are on sale at GlendaleDodgerNight.com, and we'll be up and ready with getting the word out there. We're not quite there yet, and it's sponsored by Lexus of Glendale, so we're very proud of that. The other thing coming up is our golf tournament. So Iris, she'll just give you a little promo on our golf tournament, and this is all to raise funds for.
The Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation is pleased to announce the third annual Glendale City Golf Championship, which will be held July 2014. Once again, the presenting sponsor will be the local, trusted choice independent insurance agents. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation to support their mission, which is to foster well-maintained parks, picturesque open spaces, and innovative recreational programs which enrich our entire community. The first round will take place at the Shoal Canyon Golf Club on July 23rd, followed by the finals at the Oakmont Country Club on July 28th. Registration is $85 per player, and carts are included. For more information and to sign up, please visit GlendaleGolfChampionship.com or call 818-531-2833. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Please register today and enjoy golfing in our community while supporting our local parks and open space.
I might add that our city manager, Scott Ochoa, will be taking the first swing, so I'd urge everyone to step back a little. But also on Glendale Dodger Night, we're having a pre-party on the City Hall Plaza, and we'll have buses, so you can take a bus ride if you'd rather not drive to the stadium. So,
Great.
GlendaleDodgerNight.com.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. President, members of the commission, if I may, I do want to comment on the budget. On June 3rd, the City Council approved the city budget, including the budget for the Commissioners and Parks Department. I'm happy to report that there were no staff reductions as part of the budget, no program reductions, but of course at the same time there was also no expansion of existing programs. As a result, our general fund budget for the department is $9.7 million for all of our operations. The Recreation Enterprise Fund budget, which is the revenues and expenditures for all the fee-for-service programs that we run, that budget is $3.1 million. The Community Development Block Grant budget that was approved was 1.746. The homeless grants from the federal government totaled $2.2 million. The workforce development budget was approved at $4.8 million. The Glendale Youth Alliance budget was appropriated at $1.5 million, and then $389,000 in LA County funds for our nutritional meals program and senior case management, totaling $23.5 million for the 14-15 budget. In addition to that, we had a number of capital improvement projects that were approved as part of the budget. I will quickly read those projects. We have a project for the North Brand Park restroom demolition and clearance. We several months ago we had a tree that fell on a restroom at North Brand, so we need to demolish that building. We are not going to rebuild it at this time, but to demolish it, we allocated $75,000 in capital improvement funds. We have a Brand Park sign project at $110,000 using development impact fee funds. We have a Central Plaza and Central Park design at $100,000, and that's also development impact fee funds. We have a citywide ball field renovation project at $100,000, and that's using the enterprise fund. We have a civic auditorium HVAC project that's $150,000, and that's also using the enterprise fund. We need to replace the lighting at Dunsmore Park, so the council allocated $300,000 in capital improvement funds. We have a neighborhood gateway and natural trails project at $100,000, and that's with developer impact fee funds. We have an outdoor fitness equipment allocation of $50,000, which we allocate every year, and that's out of development impact fee funds as well. We have the Palmer Park renovation project at $303,000 using CDBG funds and an additional $350,000 using state grant funds. We're allocating $100,000 in development impact fee funds for planning and design studies, $30,000 to maintain Rockhaven, to do minimal maintenance at Rockhaven, and the council allocated $1.1 million in enterprise funds to replace the artificial turfs at the sports complex. They're now 10 years old, and they're getting pretty torn up, so we're planning to replace those soccer fields, or the turf rather. Then we have $300,000 appropriated for Stengel Field construction, actually the demolition of Stengel Field and the installation of aluminum bleachers, and that's development impact fee funds. So the total amount allocated for 14 capital improvement projects is $3.3 million. Of that amount, only 18% comes from the general fund and capital improvement funds. So we are making effective use of leveraged funding sources such as the enterprise fund, the development impact fee funds, and the CDBG and state grants. So a lot of activity coming up in the upcoming year.
You mentioned about the budget being about the same as it was before. There weren't really cuts, but there weren't really increases.
Correct.
And I know that there was also something approved by council for early retirements. Are we having people from the Parks Department take advantage of that?
President Khan, that remains to be seen. Enrollment or interest period, if you will, is going on now. So we'll know in 2 or 3 weeks how many of our employees are indicating that they're interested in taking that incentive.
Okay. One other thing you mentioned about the Brand restroom, that a tree fell on it and we allocated money for demolition. Are we not thinking that we need to rebuild that? Is that just...
Yes, President Khan, that restroom was not being used anyway. It had been locked up because it was in deteriorated condition, and staff feels that it's due to the budget situation, it's dispensable. It's not critical to the operations at the parks to rebuild it at this time.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, what is next?
Excuse me, Item 5 is oral communications. I don't have any cards. Item 6, consent items, including minutes. At A is approval of the minutes of the Commission regular meeting held on May 19, 2014.
Do we have any?
I will move it.
I'll second it.
Commissioners Fod,
Yes.
Alfayan,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
Wu,
Yes.
President Khan.
Yes. What is next?
Item 7, business agenda A, action items. At 1, review and approval of a batting cage concessionaire RFP.
Good afternoon, President Khan, members of the Commission. I'm Gabrielle Golia, the Community Services Supervisor of the Sports Section, and specifically at the Glendale Sports Complex. I am here today with a recommendation that the Commission approve a motion to review and approve the issuance of a request for proposals for the operation of the proposed batting cage project. The Community Services and Parks Department is proposing to develop the Glendale Sports Complex batting cage project. This is a second phase of the development of the Glendale Sports Complex. When the complex was initially built, there was a site that was identified as a great location for the batting cages to go in. It's this dirt area that I'm highlighting right here on the screen. This area is already graded for the project. There are electrical conduits already on site, and there is a restroom and a building concession stand that were built in the initial phase of the Glendale Sports Complex. We are proposing that a 6-bay batting cage be developed and built on that site. This will have multi-pitch machines in it. We're looking for slow pitch, fast pitch, high arc, and baseball for the batting cage. We are looking to go out for a request for proposals for a concessionaire operator in order to operate them once they are in place. In doing lots of background research, staff have found that the maintenance and the supervision of the batting cages is quite intense. So we feel it is better to hire a concessionaire to operate these for us, and they can be on site and handle all of the ongoing maintenance of the cages. There is $400,000 appropriated in development impact fee funds in the 2012-13 Capital Improvements Program budget. We have 4 major steps in proposing this project. The first is the issuance of an RFP for an operator. The second is an issuance of an RFP for a planning and design consultant. Then preparation of documents and the issuance of a contractor. And then completion of the construction and installation of the equipment. We are proposing that the concessionaire operator purchases all of their own equipment. In researching how other cities have done it and also how private batting cages have done it, the general feedback that we received is that the concessionaires always wanted their own equipment. They took out whatever was there when they moved in and put in their own anyways. So we have decided that we would like to bring them on at the initiation of the project and have them provide some professional consultation during the design so that they're a part of the design process. And then they will buy and provide all of their own equipment and install it once the foundation is complete. The city will build the foundation, we'll put up the nets, and we will install all of the electrical conduits, everything like that, so that it is just a shell of a cage, and then they'll install the conveyor system, the equipment, the machines themselves, and the computers and tokens to operate. We are anticipating that the contract will be awarded October 21st of 2014. This may be a dual-phase contract, the first phase being that they are to provide their professional advice, and then the second phase once the batting cage is completed, which is anticipated in January of 2016. The second phase of that contract will go into place when they actually are operating the cages. This is a general design of a 6-bay batting cage. This is a very general picture just so you can get an idea of what the cages may look like on that site. You can see that the bays are right here. Each of these are a bay. This will fit in the spot that has been designated for the batting cage, and that's the size of that location is perfect for this. All of the pitching machines will go inside this central area. It's almost like a circus tent with a pole right here and the netting to protect everybody. This is just a building as a place marker. The actual building is over here. It's the existing restroom snack bar building that their office will be located in, and the restroom. Similar to the tennis concession, the tennis RFP concession that was approved last month, we will be asking for all of the proposals and then reviewing them to see if they meet the minimum qualifications. And then we do plan on having an outside company, outside panel interview all of the top proposals and make a recommendation to the department for any future interviews, as well as their top 3 candidates. We will select from that. Can I answer any questions?
Who is the outside panel you say is going to judge who is that going to be comprised of?
We haven't selected those panelists at this point in time. They will be sports and recreation professionals, preferably staff from other cities who are running concession operations. So they have experience with handling the concessions. They know what to look for in a concessionaire, and if possible, even someone who has a batting cage in their city.
And how long is the concession for, if you will?
It is, at this point in time, it would be a 2-year contract with option to renew. I believe that there's a 5-year maximum on contracts for the city, so there wouldn't be an option to renew past the 5 years, and then we would be going out for another request for proposals for new contracts for just operators at that point in time, because we'd have the equipment already installed.
So the equipment will become the city's?
Yes, once the equipment, I believe that's how we've moved forward is that once the equipment is installed, it will become part of the facility. There are some details up in the legal department right now. They're working on the contracts.
Because I thought you said if you got a new operator, say 5 years' time, they want to put their own equipment in?
If they'd like to put their own equipment in, we do believe that the equipment will be obsolete. We're pretty sure that after about 5 years, a new operator coming in probably will not want to use the old equipment. The equipment is replaced pretty regularly at the other batting cages that we've researched. They do break down quite a bit. There's a lot of moving parts in them. So we haven't fully flushed all of that out, to be honest with you, as far as will that next contract after this 5 years is up bring in their own equipment or not. This contract will be through those first 2 years with option to renew with the equipment existing that's going in.
I'm used to obsolescence.
You have, under your schedule of events, it says the contract is awarded by the City Council on October 21st of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then the anticipated date of concession operation is January 1st, 2016?
Yes.
It takes that long for a batting cage to be set up?
That's our anticipation on the timeline, Emil, if you don't mind.
These are just estimated dates right now. I think by the time we negotiate, there's going to be design involved that includes the potential concessionaire. So while the design is being confirmed, the agreement with the concessionaire is being negotiated as well. So we're hoping that all of that happens. It takes about 3 months to get a consultant on board, roughly a month and a half at the very minimum. Mm-hmm. So we anticipate, we took the worst case scenarios, kept those in mind.
Okay, but we're hoping it's going to be sooner than that? Because I'm looking at that, if it's already kind of set up, it's graded, and you have the electrical conduits there, and you're putting netting and a batting cage on, you'd think it would be less than a year and 3 months?
You would hope, as
okay.
we do.
Okay.
As do we.
Yeah. Great.
I have a quick question.
Please.
I don't know if it's too premature, but do we have any projected revenue potential revenue? And then is it going to be, how's it going to be, do the concessionaires, do they pay a rent or do they share in the revenue? How is that been structured?
What we are asking for, very similar to the tennis contracts, will be that they pay a minimum monthly rent and then a percentage of their profits. And we are really, this is brand new to us, so we are really looking to the proposals that come back to get an idea of what kind of revenues we might be generating. We've done some research with other cities and other batting cages and what they're bringing in. And it's a bit all over the place because some of them are staffed with recreation staff at a site that's already operating, and others are operating them in conjunction with a golf course, a mini golf course. So it's very hard to know exactly how this will come about, and we're really looking to the proposals to get an idea of what the revenue will be on an annual basis.
So with the $400,000 that we have allocated, do we have a specific timeline as to when we hope to recoup that, the cost of building and all that?
Yes, President, County Commissioner, we don't have a specific timeline or goal as to when it would begin to pay for itself in terms of the initial layout of the capital cost. We've never operated a batting cage before. We've never done anything like this before. We are going to rely heavily on other communities or organizations that do have experience with batting cages. We aren't sure how many batting cage operators are out there. I wouldn't be surprised if we only received 2 or 3 proposals, because there's probably not that many, and especially operators that are confident that they can develop a financial pro forma to demonstrate to the city that the city will be receiving payments and earning revenue on this project. And that's one of our goals, is to make it a self-sustaining enterprise and one that will generate more revenue than expenses and begin to pay for itself over time. We know that we got a lot of requests, a lot of inquiries from community members and the leagues and the softball teams and baseball teams as to why Glendale doesn't have a batting cage anywhere in town. So we think it's going to be very heavily used and welcomed by the community. So we're again, similar to the Rockhaven RFQ, at this point, we're open to any and all pro formas in terms of operators giving us an idea as to what they think they can do with this project.
Thank you.
I have a question. You would know better than anyone. It says 15% of the time. Is there time that those fields are so used? Is there enough time for batting cages, practice, and with all the games going on?
Are you referring to the teams, like when they might have time to come and play?
Right. It said evaluate the proposed schedule of operations.
Yes.
So you feel we have enough time in between games and.
Yes. We actually anticipate that a lot of it will be drop-in time, maybe not even related to the games. We anticipate that people will come by during the late afternoons and early evenings before the league games get started, and they'll start practicing. I do know that the little leagues locally rent out batting cage time in Burbank and in other cities, and they have whole practices that are dedicated once or twice a week, each team, to batting cage practice. So we're hoping that business will now stay inside of Glendale,
right.
And that the cage will be operated and will be rented out or be used by drop-in players at the exact same time as other games going on the field. So we're hoping that it all overlaps and that we have a lot of business in there.
I think it's pretty exciting.
Thank you.
Please.
How much research we have done that we have the demand for such a baiting cage, and what kind of traffic is going to be creating to the Fern exit? I believe it's through the residential area. And is there a future plans to have an exit from the freeway?
I know that there has been talk on and off for a number of years about a potential exit off of the freeway. We haven't done a specific research on the actual traffic that it might create up and down the hill. As part of this RFP and the contract, we were very specific in actually closing down the batting cages earlier than the park, an hour earlier, and only going until 9 o'clock instead of until 10 o'clock to alleviate any kind of impact that there might have on the residents coming up and down the hill. And I know that possibly in conjunction with some future developments of Site A, there may be some research into the development of a freeway off-ramp where the Caltrans construction site currently is. We have looked at other batting cages to see what their business looks like on a daily basis, both the cities and the privates. And unfortunately, it is still a bit of a difficult guess on how much will happen because a lot of those cages are associated with family centers. So, for instance, the Sherman Oaks Golf Center is one that is similar to this. It's operated by the City of LA, but it's a private contract. But because it's associated with the Castle Golf, it's very difficult to say what kind of traffic we might get versus that. We're hoping that it's not a significant impact on the community while giving us still that extra revenue and the participation, in that it might be the same players who are coming up to play a game later that are just arriving earlier in order to practice before their games. And then the private rentals by the youth groups will be earlier in the afternoon and not as late into the evening to lessen some of the impact on the residents.
Do we have a committee or anyone looking into an off-ramp exit? Is there something developing in there?
President Khan, Commissioner Kalfayan, not to my knowledge. I know there's been discussions sporadically. It is something that ultimately we need to get together with the Public Works Department on, and so that's what we'll plan to do.
You mentioned Caltrans, because for last few years when I'm driving down the 2 and going north, it looks like they're kind of wanting to put in something there, but not really committing to do it. And it looks like, at first for a while there, I thought that's exactly what they were doing, and then I realized no, they have equipment yard or storage or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, is that the opening to putting something in, or is it just a storage yard?
I honestly don't know. It might be a combination of both. Again, I know there have been discussions from time to time. I'm not sure how far they've gotten, or if like a lot of major projects, the recession, slowed down those discussions or whatever the case might be. But we'll try to get some information on that.
Need lobbyists probably for that.
Yeah.
Have the residents on Firm, have they been notified of this particular project to let them know that there's potentially a batting cage that the city's considering? Have they been notified?
Not at this point in time. I believe that will come as part of the design and construction phase. So as part of that design phase, we would be reaching out to them and notifying them of it and notifying them of the intent and the design at that point in time and what the impact would be at that point in time. Since we're hiring the concessionaire at the same time as the consultant, it's actually, it seems a little early, like we should be further along in some ways, but because we're hiring them so early so that they can provide some professional consultation on it, we're a little ahead of the game with the operations, so we're not quite at that point yet. But they will be notified, and they absolutely will be included. And I know Emil has a process.
I was just going to reiterate what you said earlier about the fact that the pad is existing, which indicates that the concept of the batting cages has been part of the overall sports complex project all along since its conception. So this should not be a surprise to anyone, because that location was actually designed to allow for some sort of a batting amenity.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your presentation.
So we're actually looking for a motion from the commission to approve the RFP.
So not just a thank you very much?
I'll move to approve the project as described. Is that?
And I will second it.
Commissioners Fod,
Yes.
Kofayan,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
Wu,
Yes.
President Khan.
Yes. What's next?
7B, reports information only, Maple Park Community Center Annual Report.
Good afternoon, President Khan, members of Commission. I'm Kenneth Khan. I supervise Maple Park Community Center. I'm here to give you a short introduction about the annual Maple Park Community Center report. The full report is in your packets. Maple Park Community Center services the residents of South Glendale and the surrounding areas. The center underwent a large-scale renovation from 2010 to 2011 and reopened to the public in the summer of 2011. Since the reopening, Maple Park has become one of the department's key revenue producers. The center hosts large-scale venue events such as birthday parties, baby showers, christenings, baptisms, and even weddings. Yes, weddings at Maple Park. Maple Park also has many drop-in activities that are open to the general public. There is drop-in basketball, volleyball, as well as foosball and table tennis for the area youths. There are also contract classes that are held at Maple Park Community Center, such as folk dancing, children's gymnastics, and various other contract classes. We have a summer day camp over at Maple Park Community Center, which is called the Stars Day Camp. The day camp attracts over 50 children per week and is actually going on now. The day camp coincides with GUSD's summer break, so when the kids are out of school, there's a local community center that provides a venue for parents to drop off their kids. In addition, Maple Park Community Center provides therapeutic recreation programs, including the Club Maple and Get Fit programs. These programs are important as they provide adults with developmental disabilities an outlet to enjoy social interaction activities and events, and many other fun drop-in programs. The full report is in your packets. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Do we have any questions? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You do a great job. You really do.
Thank you.
Item 7B2, monthly activity reports at A Park Services.
Yes, President Khan, Coco Panelsian, the Park Services Senior Manager, is out ill today. We do have in this place Bill McKinley. However, we will not have a PowerPoint as we usually do to highlight the special projects throughout the month. So what we have is the report that's in your packet, which is a list of the job orders. It is the beginning of summer, and we are trying our hardest to keep the lawns as green as possible. It's always a challenge. This is a time of year where we find ourselves doing a lot of irrigation work, a lot of irrigation repairs. And so unless you have any questions for Mr. McKinley, our report today is comprised of the list of job orders.
Do we have any questions?
What do you do with all the turtles that people keep putting in the park and kind of messing up the pond?
The pond?
Yes.
I understand there's an arrangement with a pet store.
Oh, good.
And periodically, some of the turtles are relocated so that there's not an overpopulation of turtles within the pond area. It can only sustain so many.
Yes, my husband asked me that, so thank you. I didn't know.
I didn't realize we had a turtle problem.
We do. If you go over there, yes. People, I think it's wonderful that at least people
Great.
drop them off
Aquarium
there.
turtles?
They're big ones, or?
Yeah, I think they're turtles, aquarium turtles that people basically don't have a use for anymore, and they end up in our pond and they reproduce, and and they grow to be considerable size, about the size of my hat in some cases. So.
Wow.
So the
Have
pond
to
gets
call
kind
some of
murky.
them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I interrupted.
They don't go to waste. Yeah,
Good.
They're utilized.
And we're not using turtle pesticides, so that's...
Right.
You can take them at our home, one of each, right?
I'm sorry?
You can take them to our houses.
Then they'll end up in the pond again, it'll be recycled.
Yeah, a week later, right? They're back.
Exactly, when mom finds out.
Any other questions? No. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.
Item 7B2B, Human Services.
Good afternoon, President Khan, members of the Commission. My name is Yvette Sanvalian. I'm Homeless Program Supervisor. I have a report before you regarding City of Glendale's employment campaign, Think Different, Think Glendale, and Hire Glendale. As part of our Glendale Homeless Continuum of Care, which provides a wide range of services to homeless individuals and families in the City of Glendale, we provide emergency shelter programming, street outreach, transitional housing programming, permanent supportive housing programming. The Continuum of Care is funded through U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. As Mr. Duran mentioned, the budget is about $2.2 million on an annual basis. The funding is a competitive funding. In order for the City of Glendale to maintain its competitive process, and under the Competition for Hearth Act, we are required to increase access to employment, increase our income, and obtain permanent employment for our homeless individuals and families. Not only that our families experience homelessness and lack of housing, now we are required to also increase their income through employment process. Due to that requirement, the city last year has launched an employment campaign. One of the specific programs offered through the Continuum of Care is providing job skills, job search activities for homeless persons to be able to come in and join the workshops and learn how to apply for positions, how to save money, how to budget, and become self-sufficient and integrate back to the community. So the Glendale Continuum of Care put a campaign, Think Glendale, Hire Glendale. We have several partners that have partnered with us to end homelessness and support us with getting our homeless individuals back into the employment. And some of our partners are Essentia, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, Path Ventures, Door of Hope. These are the agencies that provide homeless services in the city of Glendale. In addition to our key partner, Vertigo Job Center, that provides a wide range of services to existing residents of the city regarding employment services. We've partnered with Glendale Downtown Association regarding our employment campaign. We have Montrose, Verdugo, and Armenian Chamber of Commerce partnered with us to support this outcome. We've thus far communicated with over 80 business owners in the city of Glendale and have asked them to support us transitioning our homeless graduates into employment. Partnering with the City of Glendale and Homeless Continuum of Care has several tax benefits. The Vertigo Job Center provides this service, so we were lucky enough to leverage these resources. But business owners are able to receive tax credits if they hire a job seeker from a special target population. The special target population includes people that may be homeless, it includes folks that may be on public service benefits, people that may have special needs, including veteran status or special disabilities. In addition to some of the benefits, we offer pre-employment screening to our homeless candidates who are referred for any openings that are available in the city of Glendale. And of course, we're looking for businesses to partner with us, and we would be recognizing the business community to help end homelessness and provide opportunities for employment for the homeless in the city of Glendale. Last year in April, Getting Back to Work workshop was hosted by the Community Services Parks Human Services Division. We had 19 homeless individuals attend the workshop. This was one of the series that we conducted over the last year. The workshop provided information such as creating resumes, cover letters. We conducted mock interviews with our homeless individuals. Some of the breakout sessions included makeup applications, tips that we leveraged through Sephora for some of the women, and wardrobe tips were leveraged through Latonia Brooks, a BR Loft company. In addition, the existing service providers, including Salvation Army, provided a lot of slightly used clothing, interview clothing, for our participants. Interesting enough, all the 19 individuals attending the workshop learned a lot from the employment workshop. Some of the interesting things came out of that they were afraid to answer questions regarding their experience of jobs or homeless status. And there was a lot of training related to that to overcome that particular question. This is a picture where Tony Brooks had provided some of the wardrobe for the families and individuals accessing these services. And this is a picture of some of the women learning about makeup tips through Sephora, what to do going on an interview so that we don't overdo our makeup. Here's a picture of a participant who is in a mock interview process. And during this process, we had assigned each participant a specific position. And so they had to prepare really quickly how to answer the specific questions if they would be on an interview. And what we did at the end of the interview, we brought all the participants back and the staff that interviewed the participants, and we discussed of areas of improvement, discussed how to best represent their case to the employer, and to acknowledge the fact that they have overcome a certain barrier of being homeless, but they're ready to take on a new advantage, take on a new opportunity in their life in getting back and giving back to the community through the employment workshops. Some of the results thus far to date, we have had 5 homeless clients obtain employment. 2 of these homeless clients were unsheltered, meaning that they have nowhere to stay. They are unsheltered in the city of Glendale, and they found positions at a lumber shop. One of our unsheltered clients was hired to move to Alaska, so a lot of opportunities, even out of state, out of country, clients are looking to be able to obtain employment. 2 of our graduates from our Door of Hope Transitional Housing Program found full-time employment through our Los Angeles County Superior Court office. The Transitional Housing Program is a place where clients can stay up to 1 year. It's a little bit more sheltered and case management. The clients are able to find employment a little bit more quickly than those who may be unsheltered and have other challenging barriers to deal with while being homeless on the streets. And then 5 clients just recently were employed through the Los Angeles County for our recent elections. So as part of the campaign, we are looking for new business owners to join in terms of Glendale's employment committee and helping Glendale getting back to employment. As a result of this committee, we were able to find a position for Mr. Mosley, who he gave us his consent to share his picture, and he was able to find a position quickly after the first workshop in 2013, and he's still employed. So the Glendale campaign to hire Glendale and think Glendale is really critical to our continuum of care and the success of our continuum of care. HUD requires that 20% of our exited participants from our programs find full-time employment and get back to the jobs. And so thus far, Glendale is able to meet the HUD national goal, but moving forward, we really need to focus and think strategically how we can increase opportunities for our Glendale homeless to find employment and become self-sufficient and integrate back into the community, be part of this community. You have the rest of the report before you. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer the questions for you now.
Any questions?
When they find a job, are they dismissed from their shelter, or they still can come and stay at the shelter?
President Khan, Commissioner Kalafian, if they are still in the housing program, emergency or transitional, they're able to complete that program. They're not discharged from the shelter because they found employment. Typically, it takes a couple of paychecks for them to be able to sustain themselves. So they maintain until in the program until they're able to exit and have enough income to either rent independently or on a subsidized housing program.
They decide themselves, or there's a limit for that?
There are, Commissioner Kalafian, there are time limits for different types of programs. So for our emergency shelter program, it's 60 to 90 days. That's operated with Ascensia. They're able to exit from the shelter within 90 days if they found employment. For our transitional housing programs, it's through case management. They can stay up to 1 year even if they find employment. What we do, the case managers work with the clients to save their money, to be able to move on, with a little bit more money so that they can purchase things for their new units and be able to pay ongoing rent without the subsidy. And unsheltered clients, unfortunately, they don't have anywhere to stay. They're typically on the street, so we work with them to gain them some shelter stay prior to having them continue their employment.
Great. Well, it sounds like a very good program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 7B2C, Workforce Development.
Good afternoon, President Khan and Commissioners. I have just a couple items. I'm pleased to report that we had taken the lead on a local grant application to the State Department of Education called Career Pathways Trust. And so we recently got word that our consortium was awarded a $6 million grant. The point of the grant is to try to create a system where our students are connected to good career opportunities. So it focuses on two primary areas. One is opportunities in advanced manufacturing. The other area is what's happening in the information technology area. We see tremendous growth in Southern California, and we think it's a great opportunity for our K through 12 community college and four-year students to get access to that area. So we're creating a system through the school districts to provide training and education to our youth in those areas. Our role in the grant would be to try and link up the educational institutions to the employers to find out their exact needs and to get their assistance in developing relevant curriculum. So we're excited about kicking off that program. It's a 5-year grant, and so it's a long-term investment in trying to upgrade the effectiveness of our education system locally. The other grant that we're excited about competing for, the state of California recently had a solicitation for innovative projects that focus on people that are being underserved. And one of the things that we see is that female veterans are one of the most underserved populations that come to our Center for Assistance. Just as an example, state of California has a veterans program on site in Glendale one of the largest in Southern California, they see on average maybe 50 to 60 veterans that are males, but on average they see one female veteran per month. So 50 to 60 male veterans per month and one female. Part of that is that female veterans in some surveys have experienced sexual harassment while in the military. Up to 80% of those surveyed report that they were sexually harassed. And so essentially they don't come into agencies like ours for services because they fear that issue coming up again. So that's part of the reason that we don't see very many. But yet in surveys that were done of female veterans, they're saying employment services and employment are the thing that they need the most once they come out of the military, but they just aren't accessing it at all. So we've teamed with the Glendale YWCA to submit a proposal, and part of that strategy would be to create activities and events that are focused exclusively on female veterans. So we're looking at recruitment events and informational events where we can give them information about employment possibilities and provide intensive services and training in an environment where they'll feel safe and secure. So hopefully we get that grant. I understand they had 130-something applicants, and I believe they're only going to award 16 grants, but hopefully we'll get that grant and can do some good in the community on that one too. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Item 7B2D, Park Planning and Development.
President, call members of the Commission. We have, as you are aware, we have 2 construction projects that are wrapping up. I'm excited to report to you that by late July, Maple Park, the site improvement phase of the project will be completed and reopened to the communities for the community's benefit. Earlier, Mr. Khan talked about Kenneth Khan talked about how active the Maple Park Community Center is, and we're hoping that the new improvements will add to that activity and make it more attractive for our community to use. We will also open Maryland Avenue Park in early August. If you've had a chance to drive by, it looks almost complete. We just need to have the plants get settled and established and the grass grow so that we can do our final walkthroughs and open to the community's use. We hope to get started on soliciting designers for the Fremont Park now that the funding has been approved, as Mr. Duran indicated earlier, along with the improvements that we'll be doing at Dunsmore Park in terms of lighting as well as the tennis court lighting. We continue to develop the design for the Palmer Park. You may recall that you saw the preliminary design a couple of months ago. We are finalizing the design, getting the final cost together, and moving to the construction document phase. And we are also making progress on the Civic Auditorium exterior improvements, which included some lighting upgrades, exterior paint color upgrades, and some other minor improvements. So I'm looking forward to bringing that design back to you probably in July, if not August for sure. That concludes my portion, unless you have any specific questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7B2E, Recreation and Community Services.
Thank you. President Khan, members of the Commission, in your package you'll find a monthly activity report for Recreation and Community Services section. Real brief, month of May we had 6 events at the Civic Auditorium. We had a total revenue cash flow come in of $6,924. Our year-to-date revenue is $353,000. For the permits, community center rentals, we had a total of 241 revenue permits, 90 non-revenue permits, with monthly revenue of $48,228, which is a 14% increase from the year before. Our year-to-date numbers, 1,859 revenue permits, 603 non-revenue permits. Total revenue is $546,145, which is a 13% increase from the year before. I know I had mentioned this last meeting. Our 21st annual cruise night will be held July 19th. Invitations will be mailed, either email or snail mail to you. It will be held on brand between Milford and Broadway at 5:30. We'll have a little small reception between 5:30 and 7:30 for all of our sponsors. And I invite you to Glendale Cruise Night on July 19th. And our summer programs started last Monday. We have our summer day camp program that started at our community centers, and one at Griffith Manor Park, and one at Verdua Park. And we also had our aquatics program that started Memorial Weekend, and our lessons started last week. So our summer programming is in full force. We have our classes booked, our summer day camps are all of them are booked, and staff has done a great job so far. So we have another 8 more weeks until the end of summer. I'll come back in September and give you a brief report on our day camp program. Any questions?
Great. Well, thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Okay.
Item 8 is adjournment.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.